Hey everybody, welcome to GeekStorm. I'm Sean Hilton, owner of Comics Cube, founder of the Kokomo Con, purveyor of the Excelsior scholarship program that benefits a geeky, nerdy kid. Well, I only pass out the scholarship once a year, and it's getting closer to that, so that one I don't remember that often. You know, if we were to like take down all the crap that I'm involved with or do, it actually is a kind of a long list now. Not to toot my own horn, because I don't pay attention to most of it until somebody's like, hey, now's your time to do that thing.
He doesn't know what most of it is.
Yeah, I don't, yeah. I just
like, you can just tell him he's a part of something. It's like, hey, you owe us this? We already paid you for it.
I've written more than a couple of checks where sometimes I'm like, what's going on? Hey, today I'm joined by my good friend, Nicholas Gray, commentator on all things Gray.
Yeah. I am wearing gray.
Looks good. It looks good.
A little more
What is a hypervinyl? What is hypervinyl?
It's techno-electrical.
What is that?
So this shirt is probably older than, it's definitely older than all my children. But
it's not. No, it's not.
So it's a old record label.
Okay.
So
probably techno, I'm guessing.
Would be.
Yeah, I don't listen
House
to
music.
I don't listen to that noise.
House music, techno. Yep. Vinyl, especially. Yeah.
I like vinyl, but
I do.
I dig me some of that. You know where I get my vinyl?
Where?
I get it in the middle of downtown Kokomo at American Hi-Fi.
What?
It's true. American Dream and Hi-Fi, something like that. Oh. My buddy Mike, he delivers me pretzels once in a while too.
That's nice. I'm probably have to go over there because, Cool Keith and Dan the Automator just said that they are reviving Dr. Octagon, so they're releasing a new album of Dr. Octagon.
All I just heard was hipster, and I don't speak that language.
That's definitely not hipster. I don't think so, at least.
I don't know.
It's Dr. Octagon, yeah. It's a
hey, this
really
week
old
in
hip-hop
GeekStorm,
thing.
we're going to talk about some comic books. We're going to talk about the Black Panther film. We're going to talk about some video game stuff. I'm going to throw stuff at you. You're going to throw it back. We'll have a conversation. We want to hear from you, so if you've got some feelings about the words that we're saying, you feel free to contact us via our Facebook page at GeekStorm or send a letter to the city. They love that. That's right.
All right.
So, what'd you do geeky this week? What kept your geek cred level, or did you raise it a little?
This week was a busy week, but I did finish. I finished the book I was reading, and then after our talk,
was it a geeky book?
It was the latest one in the Fargo adventures. So
all right, it's Guy Beach reading. I love those kind of things.
It's kind of like
Clive Cussler.
It's Clive Cussler. It is Clive Cussler. So.
Oh, is it? I didn't know he did the Fargo ones.
Yep, it's Clive. Well,
is it his Ghostwriters?
Yeah,
I think
so
he's got
I think
an army of Ghostwriters.
Slapped Clive Cussler in it because he's a big name.
Yeah.
And then there's two other usually
Peter and Laura.
Yeah, it's usually one or two other people on all of that series. I'm pretty sure they're the ones writing it.
Yeah.
And Clive Cussler changed that word to
I don't like adjectives in that order.
Yeah, he's like that. Add a preposition. I don't know what it is, but
call it done. Cash a check.
Yep. The latest one was the Romanoff ransom. So they hunt down what it is kind of like a modern day Indiana Jones-esque adventure novel, puzzles and mysteries, and they're almost always trying to find a lost city or a lost treasure. And then they kind of get sucked into it.
And they're a couple.
Yep, they're a married couple.
And they're like super rich.
Yep.
It's like, what was that show called with the guy that's going to go to jail for killing his wife? Heart to Heart.
Oh.
It's like Heart to Heart done with a modern day sensibility with an Indiana Jones-esque adventure kind of thing. Like if Nathan Drake from Uncharted had married like Laura Croft. Yep. And they'd gone off on adventures in the book series.
Very, very similar to that. But yeah, so I finished that book this last week. If you like that kind of stuff, I forget which number it is in that series. I think it's number 6 or 7. It's a really good series. Some of them are better than others, just like any book series. Just some of the adventures I think also appeal to me more. Some of the content. This one it was slow getting into because this one's called the Romanoff ransom. I'm not super well versed or into that, but it started off really kind of slow for me. Okay. Got really good in the middle, and then I have to say this one felt like they were getting to word kind of like and wrap up because it felt like it ended real quick. There wasn't as much of a
did they find
payoff
Anastasia?
No,
she's still dead.
No. They found they found maybe some treasure and stuff like that.
All right.
Well,
that's cool.
So I finished that book, and then I started after our talk the other day. I finished Altered Carbon, the TV series,
loved it.
and I started the Altered Carbon book.
Oh, cool.
So already some big differences between that series and the book, but I think after finishing the series, though, I think I mentioned it to you the other day, one of the things that I saw in the final episode, which I thought was pretty funny, is the sword he rips off the wall to use to fight is the Highlander sword.
Yes.
I saw it confirmed online, and I was like, I'm almost positive that he is using the Highlander sword to fight at the end of this.
Great.
And I'm like, oh, it is the Highlander sword.
Somebody, I was going through a bunch of posts on something, and somebody had found one of those swords in their attic or something, kind of deal. They're like, hey, is this worth any money? What is it? And everybody's like, dude, it says right on like McLeod. It's like that's a replica of the Highlander. Well, how would you know it's a replica, not the real thing? Well, it's in your attic, for one, and so it seems unlikely. And then my only reply, so people are going back and forth, it's worth like this, it's worth like that, it's, $100, $200 is not worth much, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
My reply was, I heard there can only be one, or I heard there was only one. So I thought that was good. Funny. My geek credit for the week, I've reached 100, the level 103 in Fallout 4, and still have not got past 50% of the way through the game. I'm about like 45%. They give a little percentage as you're playing the game. Yeah. So I'm about 40. I was at 43, 45. And then I taught our mutual friend Derek Irick the moisture evaporator farm technique to make money. Because he's like, yeah, I'm having a hard time making money. And I'm like, well, are you farming melons or are you farming water? And he goes, what? And so we're at B-dubs. And I'm like, well, you can either farm melons and do some work, or you can farm water and do no work. He goes, well, I don't want to do any work. I'm like, well, then you farm water. Yeah. And I had to explain to him how this all was done. So that is, and then I read some comic books, and I own a comic book store. So that's where I went and saw Black Panther. So that's, I'm going to say my geek cred stayed about level. I didn't do anything overly geeky. I did get a letter from Gen Con. It's like Hi Muckety Mucks and Gen Con asking me why the company that I rep wasn't putting in more games into the catalog this year. And I'm like, well, funny enough, we just didn't put in more games this year. So I have to actually reply to that and explain that we have a few less games than last year, and that's how it is. So it was a little weird getting a letter. Like, are you kidding me?
Was it certified?
No, it was an email, but it was from
Not a letter.
The guy that I always get stuff from. So I was just like, it's just no, we turned in what we had, but that's all good. So
so you went and saw a movie last night?
I did. I saw Black Panther. We're gonna talk about that. But in video game news, in old school arcade video game news. Now, I am of the perfect age where the arcade was perfect thing. As they were getting to go, I was the younger guy that probably should have been there by himself. And as they were dying, I was at the right age to like.
You were the older guy that shouldn't have been there.
Yeah,
with the kids.
Probably. So little Italian American native tear going down my eyes that lockered Aladdin's Castle for the last time.
So Aladdin's Castle is where you played at.
Well, in Kokomo, but I didn't grow up in Kokomo, so I grew up.
So what was it like?
In
Of the
Alaska
arcades
and
you
South
went to,
Korea.
what was your favorite? Korea man had to have.
Yeah,
you're probably too young in Korea.
Honestly, some of my favorites were really just like not arcades, like a pizza place that had, or 7-Eleven that had Rampage. Or my favorite games were Zaxxon, Rampage, and Gauntlet. Those are probably
loved Gauntlet.
My three favorites. Zaxxon was early on. That was when I was at the age where I could actually pick my own game, play it a little bit, and actually what was going on. And then Gauntlet was that's just an amazing game. And then Rampage was just fun because I like monsters and the whole beating things and watching them and eating people. That was just great for me.
Growing up, the arcade that always sticks out in my mind that is always like my favorite, there was, where I lived in Ohio, there was an arcade called Gold Mine. And it had these bright neon, what looked like mine entrance, but the wood was all like neon lights. And it said Gold Mine above the top. You went inside and there was no lights. The only light in that thing was the machines. It was complete darkness. It was just awesome. You walked around, played games. That's probably, and then the Tilt was a big chain. I think there was a Tilt at another mall that I was by when I grew up. But Goldmine I always remember just because that was just kind of cool, and it was so dark, and it was like you just lost all sense of time, like when you were in there. But the one there was a like putt-putt golf, kind of one of those places, putt-putt golf and go-karts and crap like that. I remember playing. it was the X-Men, like the four-player,
absolutely.
the four-player X-Men
Yes.
game. I remember me and my cousin.
X-Men, this is the day. This is the day.
Yeah, me and my cousin went in with a sack full of quarters and determined that we were going to beat that game. And we sat there, and lots of people jumped in and left and jumped out. We played that game.
Who was
all
your
the way
character?
through. Cyclops.
Cyclops, and who do you know your cousin played?
I don't remember who he played.
And did you beat it?
Yeah.
All right,
We played it through all day.
I graduated high school in 91.
Yeah.
And I moved here in the summer of 91 from Massachusetts. And I remember like one of the very first times that I felt like an adult and I felt weird about it was going to Aladdin's Castle in the Markle Mall at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday with literally my own money, not mom and dad, like, you know, 50 bucks, getting the $20 credit token thing and playing. It was either I played the X-Men and there was a D&D one. Like a tower castle or something. I remember I'm going to beat it, and I'm going to do it, you know, but I'm playing there, and it like hit me at about 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm like, I'm not in school, and nobody's asking me or even looking at me like it's weird. And it's like, oh yeah, you're an adult. You can literally go to the arcade at 1:30 on a Monday because I had, you know, and it's not a big deal at all. So yeah, when it was fall, obviously during the summer. You had that little grace period during the summer, like, well, it's summer, so it's cool. But come that fall, you know, I'm out doing stuff in the mall, or I'm here, and I'm not skipping, because I skipped a lot my senior year. So that was odd. But the reason I bring up video games is there's been a multitude of scandals in the last couple of weeks. Now, we've talked about in this program a lot. One of my favorite documentaries is King of Kong.
Yes.
That's Billy Mitchell and Weeby going at it on the Donkey Kong world record. Well, it turns out that Billy, the bad guy from King of Kong, and he's very obviously made out to be the bad guy, Billy Mitchell just had his record stripped from a Donkey Kong site. At least his three highest scores have been stripped from a Donkey Kong website that does nothing but host these scores. And it wasn't Twin Galaxies, which we'll get to them in a minute on another thing. So it turns out that according to several people who have now looked at the footage, because he turned in videos of this stuff, his games weren't, these three highest scores, weren't put together on an arcade cabinet, but were instead put together on a MAME machine. Now, a MAME machine is an emulator, multiple arcade machine emulator, which just means that it's a piece of software that pretends it's the video game.
Yeah, it's not the real thing.
No, so it looks like it, it feels like it, it might play like it, but it can be easily tampered with. It allows you to do certain things where you can stop it, pause it.
Yeah, because that's the big thing with MAME. You can
and
pause
then
the arcade
leave.
game.
And that would also allow somebody who was running for a record, because these records can go on for, some of the records are like 72 hours long to get to the record.
Yeah.
Part of just getting the record is staying awake long enough to do it, or having enough lives saved up so that you can literally die 20 times while going to the bathroom or something like that. So several of his scores, not all of them, because one of them was done live in front of people on a machine at a convention. But that only put him like 40th place on this list now.
Really?
But his ones that had him in the top have been stripped out. Twin Galaxies, which is kind of the big one, if you watch King of Kong, they're like this place that holds all the records. They're kind of like the video game mecca for record holding. Hadn't stripped him yet, but I'm under the impression that they may very well looking at it. But they just stripped another guy named Todd Rogers. Todd had hundreds of records from not necessarily arcade machines, but from Atari 2600, which they kept as well. He had the highest score in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest held video game unbeaten score of all time, until they just stripped him of it. And it was for a game called Dragster.
Wow.
And it was Atari 2600. 5.51 seconds was how long it took for him to beat this race. And it's held for, since like 1982. Well, people got together and like nobody can beat. In fact, the closest anybody's got in 30 years of people actively trying to beat the record or even tie the record is 5.57. So being like 6 points off just didn't sit well with people. So some guys broke down a cartridge and got the code and whatnot out of it and did all the tests. And they're like, the highest you can get, period, like mechanically, the 5.57. It is impossible to get 5.51. It's not capable of it. You would have to tamper with the cartridge or the code to somehow do this. And back in 82, it's very unlikely this guy had that ability. So not sure how he cheated, but then that led into all these other records. Well, it turns out he was a ref at Twin Galaxies for a while and actually imported, I don't know how many, but X amount of his own records into their stuff. And then on top of it, friends of friends were verifying his scores.
Huh.
So in the world of video games right now, and I didn't know how like cutthroat and people were into this. Now everybody has their own fandom, and I've always appreciated that. You know, I always love it when somebody comes into the store, the Comics Cube in the heart of downtown Kokomo, with their girlfriend, and the girlfriend might be making fun of them for wanting to spend like $75 on an Amazing Spider-Man comic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, the Amazing Spider-Man comic back in 1991 was like $10. Now it's $75, and it doesn't seem it's continuing to increase in value. What do you collect? I collect ducks. Now, not to disparage anyone, but how much has your duck collection accumulated? Now that is not to say that certain collections don't appreciate in value. My appreciation for them is just somewhat low, but occasionally you just hear. You're mocking him for this, but yet you collect. I collect gnomes.
Ducks was your go-to at first.
Ducks, geese, primitives. Primitives is my new favorite now. You can't go anywhere without seeing primitives.
I thought it was just like a design motif.
It is. That's what primitives is.
I don't know how you collect that.
Oh, you can do your whole house up in primitive style.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible.
Which is not like I expect like stone slabs.
Oh no, it's just
of that nature.
basically it's just shabby chic crap that somebody has done.
You have to have bundles of sticks somewhere.
Bundles of sticks are often there. So, yeah, just crazy, crazy stuff. So that's what's going on in the world of video games. And then we're waiting anxiously for Far Cry 5, where I will get to shoot American cultists and kill them dead. So
that is coming.
It sounds like, to break it down, that a group of cultists, religious cultists, I don't know what other kind there would be because they all are, but have taken over Rushville. I think it's actually in Wyoming or Montana.
Pretty sure.
But somewhere the size of like a Greentown, Rushville.
I think it's a little, probably that size, but the area and the map's supposed to be much bigger.
You'll be able to go all over the place and deal with these guys. So
like,
how quick before this is modded?
Probably not too long. It depends on if they open it up, because if it's on PC, then...
instantly? Like that day,
hours? I don't know if it'd be that
How
quick.
long before people are wearing red hats? So you make great again. How long? Not going to take long.
It depends on how the code is.
Quick.
But yeah, you always, if it's on Steam, and
your wife told me she downloaded, or she's gone for the like gold version of it or something.
Yeah, I think so.
So I was like, well, what do you get with the gold version? She goes, it's like $20 extra. You get all the downloadable content they're ever going to make. And I'm like, that's a pretty damn good deal.
That's a good deal.
So if you like the game, I loved Far Cry 4.
Did you ever beat the Far Cry 4 by not leaving the room?
No, I've thought about going back and doing it. I've watched a video of it.
Just start it and go make breakfast.
You know, I got to think that the guy who did it by accident, like started it, because it is one of those long intros. That guy talks for a long time. Got up to go get his pizza rolls out of the oven, or got
sidetracked with the dog out.
Went to the bathroom, and I'm like, I'll just skip this and then come back. Came back, and when we came back, the guy's still there. And you're like, oh, and followed him, because at that point, if you don't know what's happened, if you were gone that long, you wouldn't have a clue. But that is a Far Cry 4 starts off with a meeting with the big bad, and he goes, stay here for a minute. I got to go take a phone call kind of thing or deal with something. And there was a pretty long build up to it. Well, it turns out literally, if you just don't do anything, you can move around, but if you stay in that room, he does come back like 7 minutes later or something like that, and then we'll take you exactly to where it is that you were looking for, that you will spend, if you don't stay in the room, you will play the game for hours upon hours upon hours to get to the end, because it's a sandbox open world game. Whereas if you just wait, he comes back and he goes, oh yeah, it's right over here. Boom, he gives it to you, and then basically goes, oh, by the way, yeah, I'm retiring, kingdom's yours. Gets on a helicopter and leaves, and then the credits start playing. So you can beat the game in like 15 minutes by just not doing anything. So that was fun. Now I imagine everybody's going to look to do that on this one, and I imagine it's just not there.
Yeah, I imagine there's something else.
That'll be silly.
That's silly and something like that.
So definitely looking forward to that. That is actually the only game right now that I am super hyped and excited about waiting for. So.
Well, you should pick up Last Guardian, because I know you're PS4.
Yeah.
So this did release the remastered Last Guardian, one of my favorite games.
Is this where I kill the beautiful towering monsters for no good reason?
Yep. Other than selfish reasons, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's how it's been described to me.
Yep. But it's a gorgeous game.
Yeah.
And just figuring out like how you take down each of these titans
that's cool.
It's pretty great. So I just picked it up.
And you liked it?
I love that game. So.
All right, I'll have to check it out sometime. I'll put some Fallout 4 down and Far Cry 5, and eventually I have to decide to either play or beat these games. So last night, Black Panther opened up. Went and checked it out. Marvel's latest
I believe it's the
film.
18th film
In less than 10 years.
Yeah, 18th
or
film.
in 10 years.
In 10 years. But also, if you haven't seen the class reunion photo or
their
10-year
picture.
It's like every actor that's been in.
Just about. There's a few missing.
Yeah.
Coleman's missing, or Coulson's missing, because he was doing something that day.
Yeah.
He could
have. Yeah, if you haven't seen that picture, it looks like this.
Yeah, it's
really cool.
Huge panoramic shot showing everybody from all the major things.
It's pretty crazy to actually see them all there.
What I didn't believe, and I actually went to IMDb to check it out, because it was like all these movies and whatnot have been 10 years.
Yep.
I'm like, Iron Man came out more than 10 years ago, and I looked at, nope, it was 2008. Yep. And I'm like, really?
Yep,
I'm like, not only have they built that universe, but in 10 years, I mean,
it's become like the powerhouse.
Billions and billions of dollars have been made in 10 years.
Disney has done some good work.
Yeah, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, they should be keeping the comics rolling for the rest of printing press's existence based on how much money these characters have made for that company. It's insane.
Yeah. 18th film, and it's the last film of Phase 3, I believe.
Oh, is it? So we're done.
So, because I believe
Avengers will kick off.
Actually,
Phase 4.
Because Ant-Man still comes out.
Oh.
But I thought Ant-Man may be the last one. I'll have to look that up.
I don't know.
Because I don't know if Ant-Man's the last one of Phase 3.
Well, they showed a preview for Ant-Man.
I thought Black Panther was, though.
And the preview looks great. Looks very funny.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie's much more serious with some humor. The Ant-Man movies are, like a buddy comedy, and this looks just like it. Looks great. Very excited for it. Went last night. It was a Thursday night premiere, whatever you want to call it. 80% of the theater filled, and it would have been more, but they opened 3 different screenings.
Okay.
So it was like 7, 7:30, and 8 or something like that, with a 3D showing as well.
Did they do another showing afterwards too, or is it just those?
Just those 3
is
all they did. But normally a lot of these things only have 1.
Yeah.
So for them to do 3 meant they had a lot of stuff. And so it was probably the most crowded I've ever seen a Thursday night movie. When we first started doing GeekStorm, and we're doing these reviews on Thursday night movies, it was often that me, Mike, or April would be in a theater alone or with 3 or 4 other people. Virtually nobody knew about this Thursday night thing opening, and a lot of shows were doing it.
Yeah.
Now, this one, as I said, it was crazy full. People in front of you, on the side of you, a lot of people having to, not have the chair between them, kind of thing. So it got a great reception. People reacted to it very well. I would say that from the reactions of the people in our audience, I'd say most people are giving it between an 8 and a 9 out of 10 for sure. Several people clapped at the end, which always just like kind of befuddles me.
They can hear you if you clap.
Yeah,
clap loud enough.
Yeah, they can't
it's
hear
you. It's like Tinkerbell.
Yeah, I'm like, that's always been a weird thing with me.
That's how Marvel makes more movies if you don't clap enough.
If they don't clap enough, I think it's that they don't get enough money. They got plenty of money. Michael Boseman as Black Panther T'Challa is great. He continues in the role that they did in the Cap movie. Just superb. Just really, really good stuff. The additions to it. Michael B. Jordan as the bad guy. Eric Killmonger. He could have been Black Panther, really, at this point. And it's funny because he was Johnny Storm in that horrifically bad FF movie. So he's kind of pulled a Cap where he's got to play multiple characters. Johnny Storm, here's the thing. If somebody offers you Johnny Storm in a Fantastic Four movie, you take that role. It worked out for Chris Evans. It seems to be working out for Michael Jordan. It's the role to take.
Just know that I guess Fantastic Four is now back with Marvel, isn't it now?
Should be. I don't know how that buyout's actually working out. I think they get the rights back.
I think it finally reverted.
I would imagine that it'll take a while.
Yeah, they got to probably sit on that.
But he was great in Creed. I loved him in Creed. At this point, I'll go look up his other work. He's just so good. He is probably the most believable badass that you've seen in a Marvel movie. And you know why he's there. You know why he's angry. You know why he's doing what he's doing once they do the big reveal. You know, there's a little bit of mystery. Do not go into this movie late. The whole setup is right off the bat. If you miss the first 10, 15 minutes, you've missed the setup for what the entire rest of this film is about. You won't get the big reveals. You'll miss it all. So you've got to show up on time for this movie. But at this point, it's worth it because, again, you're getting an Ant-Man trailer, you're getting a Solo trailer, you're getting great trailers throughout we got the Mission Impossible trailer. You know what the world didn't need right now was another damn Ethan Hunt, Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise flick. Didn't need it.
Did they show the part where he broke his foot?
I'm sure it probably was on the screen because they show he leaps and jumps in this thing so many times. It never stops.
If you've not seen it, because they had to stop filming because Tom Cruise broke his foot.
Okay.
He leaps from one building to. Apparently, they did it a couple takes, and of course, the last one, he jumps off the building because he does apparently a lot of his own stuff.
A little surprised. He's getting up there now.
Yeah, but he leaps and jumps on the building and grabs hold of the side and then climbs over and then takes off at the camera.
Okay.
And apparently when if you slow that down, that's the moment he broke his foot. If you slow it down and actually look at his foot as it hits the wall,
crumples.
You see it turn, fold in an unhuman fashion.
WWE fashion.
He's still, and the shot, because they had multiple cameras rolling, and you can see they've posted the thing where you can see the multiple angles, and you see the look on his face, because he's acting, you always hit, and you're like, oh, because you hit a wall, but you see a little extra as he hits the wall.
Method acting.
But he still pulls himself up on the wall
and begins to
and runs off.
Wow.
You can tell when you know that happened, that the run isn't it's labored.
Oh God, why?
Well,
again,
off the camera,
he's in it, and it's just why? The entire time I am thinking, I'm I'll probably go see it because I love action adventure movies, but I'm this is so worn out at this point that we need to be done with this.
Fun fact, I've only ever seen the first Mission Impossible movie.
Oh, man. If they wanted to do one, what they would really get me back to the theater for is to do a prequel with the original team that gets slaughtered in the first couple of minutes.
That was what turned me off that whole series. I'm where's everybody else is gone?
Yeah, that team was cool.
All right, cool.
It wasn't until later that they put together another team, Well,
I've only seen the first one, and they killed off everything I wanted to go see, so I was like, deuces.
The last couple, they've got Shaun of the Dead dude.
Yeah.
He's part of the team, and Bing Rames is part of the team, and so those guys are kind of part of the team now, and so he's got a little bit more of that, and that's fun. And with the other guy, he gives him some comic relief. But the move Black Panther was just superb, really good. The acting all around from everybody is just top notch. You do have to get past Forrest Whitaker, and he's an amazing actor. People love him, but honestly, I've gotten to the point where Forrest Whitaker is, he's that guy. He's every other actor that does not act. It's just him. Yes, he's got a costume on. Yes, he's got the accent, but he might as well just be Jeff Goldblum at this point because I don't see Jeff Goldblum as that character. It's just Jeff Goldblum, and Forrest Whitaker has become that same guy for me. But everybody else, his sister is amazing in it. His love interest is amazing. Angela Bassett as mom is great. The entire thing is 2.5 hours, and it flies by.
So did it go? Explain a lot, because Black Panther's probably a character that not a lot of people really know a lot of the history and stuff. Do they go into kind of the history at all, or do they?
They go back and very quickly you get the vibranium, a meteor.
The meteor vibranium. Do they go where they originally killed all the people that lived there? It was a utopian society of the eight people and the bug people.
There's 5 tribes.
Yeah.
And the 5 tribes all come together as 4 tribes, and 1 tribe goes off, and of course they're they have to show up at one point, and those are the ape tribe or whatever. But overall, yeah, just it's beautiful. The cinematography is amazing. Martin Freeman, for what little bit he adds to it, is almost like comic relief, and he's fun. Yeah. Andy Serkis is top notch, absolutely. I want to see more Andy Serkis with him acting. He was great in front of the screen. He was great as this character, just really superb, and almost has kind of a Iron Man ending. Except, it doesn't come out like, I'm Black Panther, and then credit, but him in front of a big meeting, and they're going to open up Wakanda. Because the idea is basically Wakanda is, the entire Wakanda society is at a technology level that is probably at or higher than Stark.
Yeah.
And they keep it all secret. Everybody thinks they're a third world farming country. That's it. And so their big lesson is they're now going to go out in the world and try to help it. And somebody's like, what can you offer us? And he just does the same smile that Tony Stark kind of does. And then there's the after credit scene. 75% of the theater gets up and leaves before the final credit scene. What is wrong with people? I mean, I actually
was impressive at this point with the movie. Like, I understood in the beginning because people weren't used to. Almost everything has an after credit scene now.
So many
Disney movies have an after credit scene.
I ask the usher if it's if it's a Marvel movie, I'm staying. Period.
Yeah.
But if it's another movie, I'm not sure. I just ask the usher if he's waiting for me to leave. Hey, is there anything afterwards? Or you can go on your phone, and there are websites that will tell you where there's an after credit scene. This has a great after credit scene that ties back into the last movie dealing with him. It's really well put together and gives you back a Marvel character. Okay. So definitely want to sit through it all. But yeah, 75%. I actually, out loud, not under my breath, I'm like, where are all these stupid people going? Like, you're all dumb. So
I guess on your scale of 18 Marvel movies, cinematic universe Marvel movies, I guess, where does this one fall? Like,
really easily in the top half, probably in the top 3/4. I mean, I'd have to do what you're asking. I have to go through every single one and break it down.
I remember years ago, you used to go sit through the marathon because they used to play all of them. You have to take off an entire week at this point.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. It's by far probably the most action. Anybody that's ever been like, I don't get enough of the superhero in my superhero movie, or there's not, the origin story took so much time that I never got to actually see him in costume. Not this. Captain America took care of that because you got to see him in costume, so you didn't have to work on that much. You get the origin story really quick. You get the setup really quick. Ryan Coogler, the director, just amazing. The guy's just top notch. His Creed was great. I'm looking forward to Creed 2, even though I'm not looking forward to a Drago Sun reunion fight. I think that's just a dumb idea. That's some lazy storytelling. We got to wrap it up. So, Xena. Is Xena the comic book worth buying?
If you're a big Xena fan, I read it. It is the meeting of Xena and Gabrielle. The artwork was okay.
I thought the artwork was really pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's probably.
I've only read the first half. I thought the artwork was top notch.
So I wasn't a big Xena fan when it was on, but
if you like Xena,
it's very, very light. If you like Xena, I'd say probably read it. Hopefully, issue 2 it has some more to it.
Because really is just them literally meeting.
It's literally them meeting. You see Gabrielle. Jax is in it.
I don't know what Jax is.
He was a character from the series, I believe.
Hey, Jax. I knew him in Sons of Anarchy.
Then
different character.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different character.
All right. Sideways. DC's Dan DiDio teams up with Rocafort to create their teenage hero. It's got some Spider-Man-esque.
Yeah, I thought the costume was very Spider-Man-esque.
What'd you think?
I liked it better than Xena, definitely. The one thing I didn't get, because maybe you can fill me in, and keep talking about what happened in Gotham. Was that in another?
Must have been a different book, because even I didn't read that book.
Okay, cool. Because I didn't know if that was something another series that I didn't read, but
basically
something happened in Gotham.
His origin story is in another book.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
You get straight into him on his day one of I'm going to be a superhero.
Day one of him, I'm going to be a superhero.
Yeah. Not a whole lot actually happens. It's more introducing you to the character and the situation and his powers, and then at the very ending, there's a big thing. So
he's typical teenage kid. Like, think of a teenage kid gets powers. His power is he can essentially cut a rift in space-time, I guess, and go from point A to point B. And he
kind of teleport.
decides that he's going to be the social media superhero.
The entire time
so he's
he's got his phone out.
has his phone out as he's like, where do we want to go? Live update me. I can go there just like this.
Smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah. So that part was, I don't know, kind of funny, but
for $2.99, it's a good buy, and it is. There's been 3 books that have come out of the Dark Knight's Metal, is what this event is referring to.
Okay.
There was Damage, which is a Hulk ripoff. Beautiful artwork, but just the book was really not very good. Silencer, which was a better book, assassiny type character now going through motherhood. So it was pretty good, but it wasn't amazing. This is by far the best of the bunch so far.
okay.
So there you go. Hey, that's GeekStorm for the week. That's what we got for you. If you didn't like it, you got to send us a letter and say what you didn't like, I guess. So address it to Mike Dukes at City Hall. Be groovy, everybody.
Bye.